I always used to like bending the rules and, you know, seeing what would happen if I did something different. And that has been something that I have been really challenging my friends a lot. Always look at the other side of life. I know things are supposed to be done like this, but how would you want it to be done? People should help people up to this angle, but what would happen if we took someone and, you know, sorted them out for a long time? Not just giving them food for today. What if we sorted them out for a lifetime? Actually, one of my drives at Njeri's Kabati, because Njeri's Kabati has many wings and many programs that we actually engage ourselves in, one of the one that is very close to my heart is the one for the youth, especially when they leave high school. Between high school and upate your first gig. This is one of the things that we need to address, guys. And I pray that even at Njeri's Kabati that we are able to, I know we can't help everybody. I mean, we are 40 million Kenyans, but I'm only a small girl doing this. But if people can pick this up and just talk about it, maybe talk to the boy child, talk to the girl child, so that nobody has to go through what I went through after high school, not knowing what next. Because when I'm sitting in my house, and to be honest, I'm seeing my peers, wameenda maybe they're now partying or they're doing TikTok. Mimi sina simu. You know, so what do? You're like, hey, kwani, I'm the chosen one. Lord, if I am an animal, send me back to the forest. You know, someone said that the other day and I laughed. This Gen Zs that I'm talking to. Our churches are concentrating so much on, you know, giving us the word, but no one is encouraging us to go and actually practice the word outside the four corners of the church. We cannot be feeding our physical body, and maybe, yes, we are feeding our spiritual bodies with the word of God and nourishing it, but no one is teaching us how to put in practice what we learn in church. Guys, you can imagine I finished my high school in 2009. Between 2009 and right now that I'm in Bible school, I shouldn't have wasted my 10 years trying to figure out life and trying to move along, you know, trying to figure out life, nijue sana tafanya nini, hakuna haja ya experiment. But there are people who come and try to encourage you, oh, you can make this money or you can make this much. Na yeye mwenyewe anakaa ni kama hajajisaidia. Can we have some qualified people, qualified physicians, qualified, not physicians, but specialists, you know? People are turning against the girls because the girls are not wise. Because the bridge between high school and the age of 25 is not being addressed. Someone is not doing their job. We cannot be pointing fingers and saying the girls are careless. And we cannot be pointing fingers and saying the girls are loose. They are not. They just don't have the guidance. Everyone, if you know a girl in your life, take it upon yourself and know it's your sister. It could be your daughter, if at all you haven't gotten married yet or you haven't gotten a girl. I will start with one of my favorite songs that I have been singing ever since I started this journey, and it's from Psalms 118. It says, it's a very common song that we sing each and every day, but I have found peace in this song and I have found it giving me some sort of, I'll say calmness. It goes like this. This is the day that the Lord has made. If you know it, please sing with me. That the Lord has made, we will rejoice and be glad in it. It's in Psalms 118. My name is Njeri. I am a missionary based here in Kenya currently. I'm in training, I'm in seminary training to be a missionary, that is. You know, missionaries are basically evangelists hiding behind, you know. Sometimes in this current generation that we are at, and you appear to people and you tell them I'm a pastor or I'm an apostle, people tend to change how they look at you. So when I say I'm a missionary, I have realized that people are giving me a bit of attention. So currently I'm in training, in Bible school, training to be an evangelist at the moment. So maybe next time that I'm going to appear on the show, I will be a fully ordained missionary commissioned to go do the work of the Lord. But for now, I'm going to share with you guys my story, how it has been when I'm here in training. We've been serving at our organization. It's called Njeri's Kabati, as you can see on my t-shirt. Njeri's Kabati is a non-profit based here in Kenya, and Kabati is a Swahili word which means pantry. You see, the pantry is where you do your normal house shopping and you know, your tissues, your toiletries, all that, your unga. But the difference between our home pantry and Njeri's Kabati pantry is that Njeri's Kabati's pantry or Njeri's Kabati is public. So our friends, our families and well-wishers, they donate in the Kabati. Clothes, food, beddings, you know, we have beds, wheelchairs, all that. And then when they donate, we organize them together with my volunteers. And then when we do find a really needy case or someone who really needs help, we do sort it out for maybe a period of time, say 90 days. I'll tell you guys about that even as we go on in the show. Thank you for having me so much at TalKing. I want to share my story. I've been excited. I've been looking forward ever since I was invited. I was like, oh my gosh, when do I come in and just get to share my story with, the people that are going to get to watch me? I pray that God is going to lead you, even inspire you, maybe to wake up and also do something and challenge you. As the song started, this is the day that the Lord has made. It's a song that I sing to myself every day in the morning, because each and every day is a gift that God has given us. There's a certain grace that comes, with the day. The Bible says that His mercies and His graces are new every morning. So if you exhausted your energy yesterday, there's a grace and there's a mercy that comes with the day that is called today. So for my day, when I wake up, I was not always doing Njeri's Kabati. Of course, we know, being human beings, there's this call that we need to be kind to each other. You can't just go around mistreating people like what we are seeing right now happening. This whole femicide, conversation happening right now. People are called, there's a thing that when humans relate, we tend to be, we want to be kind to each other. We want to extend grace to another person. But was Njeri always Njeri? Was she always doing Njeri's Kabati? Was she always doing all these things that you're seeing us guys championing online? Please go, by the way, go check us out on our social media, Njeri's Kabati on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok. I was told I'm not old, I need to enter TikTok. So please go check out our work and see what we are doing there. So where did I start? Someone asked me, was I always doing Njeri's Kabati from when I was a child? Was I always going around, doing ministry since I was a child? The answer is no. I never thought in my life that I would actually want to take one person and sort out whatever they're going through, or even want to have that heart. But even as I grew up, my mom and dad always kept telling me, Njeri, when you were younger, there's a way that you are relating with people that was different even from your siblings. My mom and dad currently live, my mom just retired. I love her so much. My mom is the one who really put this thing, or she led me by example, how she used to relate with people. My mom people never came home asking for help. And my mom never tried doing something. Same thing as my dad, when you're a couple, there's a way that you relate. So I grew up seeing my parents, helping out the society, helping out people in need. And I think that is where this thing really came about. And I thought it was like the normal thing to do. When someone is in trouble, definitely you get in and help them, even if they're not your family member. So I remember growing up in high school, primary school, my mom kept telling me I was very naughty. I was very naughty growing up, and I was always the person who wanted to do something different. In the Constitution of Kenya, there's a law that we have to go abide by. But even in life, there are laws, and regulations that also how we relate with each other, because we are all different. But my mom kept telling me growing up, I always used to like bending the rules and, seeing what would happen if I did something different. And that has been something that I have been really challenging my friends a lot. Always look at the other side of life. I know things are supposed to be done like this, but how would you want it to be done? I know some people should eat with their right hand, but what would happen if you ate with your left hand? I know organizations are run like this, but what if there's a way or a narrative that I can change and do things like this? So that's how it was for me growing up. And honestly, to be honest, I loved being different. I love colors. Every time people used to tell us, no, brown and black is the way to go, and I used to ask myself, so what would happen if I wore pink? What would happen if I wore white? If I wore yellow, orange? That has challenged me in life so much, just thinking differently and moving differently at all times. And you would pick that on my social media, you would always notice that, we liked, and I encourage my friends and my partners and my volunteers at Njeri's Kabati, let's move different. I know people should help people up to this angle, but what would happen if we took someone and sorted them out for a long time, not just giving them food for today? What if we sorted them out for a lifetime? And that's exactly what we do at Njeri's Kabati. We take a family, evaluate the situation, and support that family for 3 months, not just giving them a handout of food today because they're going to come back tomorrow. So growing up, that's how life had been for me. I was very adventurous. I always used to like doing the extra mile. I used to get punished a lot. So in primary school, I did my primary school in quite a few schools. Let me not share that story now, but I'll make sure I come back and share why I always kept moving from school to school. I went to a very strict high school, which a boarding school, which was called Precious Blood. At that time, anybody who knows Precious Blood, Kagwe girls, that time was run by sisters. And you know, when a school is run by sisters, discipline is a must. So I used to get myself a lot in trouble, and my high school mates love to give this example all the time. I was always on the other side of punishment, niko happy. But for me, it was just that trying to be rebellious and trying to do things differently. So I remember in high school one time, may her soul rest in peace. Her name was Mrs. Kirago. She was the principal at that time. She kept telling me, Njeri, you're very different. And only if you can put the same energy in your studies, ungekuwa mbali sana. But I used to like going, for extracurricular activities. I was always there doing my, leading Bible studies. Sijui nimeenda funky. You know how we used to call them funkies back in the days, eh? So after high school, I remember, which is a journey that most of the issues that we are addressing and Njeri's Kabati is happening. After high school, people don't know what to do after high school. We find so many guys, you waste like 3 years, and you're not even sure what you'll do with your life after that. So for me, I remember high school, after high school for me was one of the toughest times, because I was like, now I'm gifted in so many areas, which is most of us, especially creatives. If you're a creative, someone who's in the media space, someone who's in the art space, someone who's in the music industry, such people, these dancers we are seeing on TikTok nowadays, that period between high school and when you get your first gig or get your first job, that's the hardest time. That's the time that we are getting so many people like going into depression, going into anxiety, because you're looking at yourself, you're like, wow, naangalia social media, wase wanna drive, people have their houses, people are going for vacation, people are doing 1, 2, 3. Na mimi je, is there anybody who's going to turn to me and basically just give me advice? So actually one of my drives at Njeri's Kabati, because Njeri's Kabati has many wings and many programs that we actually engage ourselves in, one that is very close to my heart is the one for the youth, especially when they leave high school. Between high school na upate your first gig, as I said, or ujue what you're going to do next. Hapo ndio nakwambia challenges ziko. Because if we don't address this issue right here, after high school, and then afterwards, if we don't address it and you enter into maybe college straight without even someone giving you some bit of mentorship or some bit of advice or someone just giving you a heart-to-heart, these are the people that we are finding are committing suicide later on. The people we are finding, even if they get married or they're in relationships, wanaanza kuachana. Wanaanza maybe even in a marriage they can't sustain, they have unwanted pregnancies simply because someone did not address that issue. So we are trying, I know this particular organization is solution oriented, and that's why I think I'm always available when they call me up to talk about something. This is one of the things that we need to address, guys. And I pray that even at Njeri's Kabati that we are able to, I know we can't help everybody. I mean, we are 40 million Kenyans, but I'm only a small girl doing this. But if people can pick this up and just talk about it, maybe talk to the boy child, talk to the girl child, so that nobody has to go through what I went through after high school, not knowing what next. Umekaa tu kejani to find utaenda computer, but right now we're a computer age. Everybody can handle a mobile phone. Anybody can handle a computer. This tabia of parents, once your child leaves high school, mnakaa naye 2 years. Let me tell you, the person who said an idle mind is a devil's workshop was not wrong. Because when I'm sitting in my house, and to be honest, I'm seeing my peers, wameenda maybe they're now partying or they're doing TikTok. Mimi sina simu. So what do? You're like, kwani, I'm the chosen one. Lord, if I am an animal, send me back to the forest. Someone said that the other day and I laughed. This Gen Zs that I'm talking to. So if someone can just address between these teenage years and between the age of 25, so much is happening. Even leave 25 to 30, between the age of 19 finishing high school to the age of 25. If someone can just step into that gap, churches, I'm calling you guys out. Churches, do your work, because this is the work of the church. If your members, your high school people need to be called after high school. I know you call them before high school and pray for them, but after high school, what next? Our churches are concentrating so much on giving us the word, but no one is encouraging us to go and actually practice the word outside the four corners of the church. We cannot be feeding our physical body, and maybe, yes, we are feeding our spiritual bodies with the word of God and nourishing it, but no one is teaching us how to put in practice what we learn in church. And I think that is the space that Njeri's Kabati is trying to fill. So yeah, after high school, that is exactly what I did. Really got lost. I wasn't sure, went into bouts of depression, suicide, very bad anxiety attack. Guys, you can imagine I finished my high school in 2009. Between 2009 and right now that I'm in Bible school, I shouldn't have wasted my 10 years trying to figure out life and trying to move along, trying to figure out life, nijue sana nitafanya nini, hakuna haja ya kuexperiment. If at all we can find someone who can tell you, ukipitia hapa, si poa. Ukipitia hapa, si poa. Na si just anyone without bashing anybody, but there are people who come and try to encourage you, oh, you can make this money, or you can do this much. Na yeye mwenyewe anakaa ni kama hajajisaidia. Can we have some qualified people, qualified physicians, qualified, not physicians, but specialists, an open space where girls can literally walk, girls and boys, because I'm not going to stand with the girls and, not stand with our boys as well. My calling and ministry is to the young people, and of course to people, my peers. If we can have, even if it's the church that is going to sponsor counselors and sponsor psychologists for the church, the many churches that we have in Kenya right now, please, if at all we can have people who are qualified to give guidance to our people, I don't think we will be addressing this issue that we are finding right now of femicide. Our girls are dying out there. Girls are being murdered, butchered. It's no longer even that I'm going to poison myself. People are turning against the girls because the girls are not wise. Because the bridge between high school and the age of 25 is not being addressed. Someone is not doing their job. We cannot be pointing fingers and saying the girls are careless. And we cannot be pointing fingers and saying the girls are loose. They are not. They just don't have the guidance. So if the church can step in and stand up, not just even the church, it should be a corporate responsibility. Everyone, if you know a girl in your life, take it upon yourself and know it's your sister. It could be your daughter, if at all you haven't gotten married yet or you haven't gotten a girl as a child. Makes sense? But I feel like if we could just address this femicide issue going on, nobody should be having placards and nobody should even be going on the streets. We cannot be looking like the politicians. We can't afford to do that. So if someone can just address this issue, know that you have a woman in your life, know that you have a girl in your life, know that you have a sister in your life, make sure you talk to them. If at all, ask them, what are they doing for a living? What are they doing out there for themselves? What are they doing to have some money in their pocket? Have those open conversations, because you cannot walk around saying that, si ako sawa, hata vile anadunga. Maybe ako na sponyo out there. Should they be having sponsors? Where are they having sponsors? Issues between the age of 18, high school, and 25. If they can be addressed, let's not get tired about empowering these girls, about empowering the boys' child as well. Our parents wametuachilia sana. We're not having those conversations we used to have back in the days when raising a child was a conversation for the whole village. Raising a child took a village. Right now, raising a child takes your mother or your father. They can't do it alone. So I pray that even as we are having these conversations online and people are using the hashtags and they're very loud on the hashtags, that we're going to be loud as well, even in person. So even as I share this journey, my journey that is, I pray I'm going to inspire someone on it. Let's come back after the short break and we can continue with my journey. And I'm going to be telling you guys what we do at Njeri's Kabati, our prospects, and what we are going to see in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years, what our program looks like.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. I'm seeing your questions online. I'm getting your questions. I'm getting people asking me, so how do you become a missionary? What do you do? Do you become a preacher? Do you go to Bible school? So as I said at the beginning, missionaries are evangelists with love. Missionaries are people who go out there, outside the four corners of the church. You know, the fivefold ministry has the apostles, it has the pastors, it has the teachers, it has the evangelists, now us, and it has the prophets. So apostles are the guys you find, setting up churches. Pastors are more concerned about the sheep, the flock, the people. You'll find teachers take you deeper in the word. They're very good at teaching the word of God. Also pastors as well. You find prophets, even right now currently, are the mouthpiece of God, the people who are inspired and, they listen, they hear God's voice and they direct the church. Actually, they are very needed in the church, especially now when the church needs direction. And the church is you and me, the followers of Christ. And then you have us, the cool people, the cool squad, the evangelists. Us guys, you won't find us in the middle. Us guys are outside, engaging with the people, engaging with the community, solving people's problems, listening to people and trying to bring them back, to church. So that's the department that I am in. So a missionary, it's a big word, but it's basically hiding behind evangelists who move in love, all right? And some people were asking me, how do I go about it? How do I become a missionary? First of all, you really need to hear the calling. You really need to hear that in your heart. Because I'll tell you guys, for sure, you'll be dealing with people, and people are not the easiest to deal with. I'll be very honest with you. In as much as it's glamorous and you'll find successful stories, either maybe we took a child to India, but then we have so many stories to share with you guys. I'll pick maybe one or two of my favorites and I'll share with them right here. Successful missions that we've had at Njeri's Kabati. But dealing with people is not the easiest thing. People will disappoint you, get ready for that. People will frustrate you, get ready for that. People will really go behind your back and do things. Get ready for that as well. But the beauty about it is you know who sent you and you know why you're doing it. So you really have to hear the calling. So if you want to know more about that, contact me. Mahali hapo ndani, we'll talk. Because there are 1 or 2, 3 things that you need to know before you get into it. Sometimes you'll find someone will do really something bad. You and your good heart of sharing, it will really hurt you. If you get in there with the wrong reasons, it might end up bad for you. In other words, wanasemanga kitakuramba. Someone taught me that word the other day. Dealing with people is really fun at the same time because you get to view people in a different way. People are very diverse. Personalities are very diverse. And people are going through various challenges. At the same time, we have people here going through very hard times, and you have people at the same time, wako tu sawa. Wanaishi wako tu sawa. And they have the financial muscle or maybe the capacity to help another person here. So us guys come in the middle. We stand in the middle of help and in the middle of the need. You understand? So it's all in your niche. However ministry looks for you, for us it's standing in the gap. For you it could be maybe counseling, it could be teaching, it could be however it looks for you. So lazima you and God, have na hiyo discussion. So for me, for paperwork is when now you need to go to Bible school. Because sometimes you go into the field and you find people wako na mashida. People are going through challenges. There is a way that the Word of God has a cure for everything. The Word of God has a way of calming people down. The Word of God has a way of healing people. So if you don't have that background, it's going to be a bit challenging. So that's why we choose to go to school, just to learn the Bible, and you're taught, you understand? You're taught and you actually get the papers for it, even for accountability purposes as well. So I'm going to pick 1 or 2 stories. Let me see. I'm going to give you my favorite, 2 of my favorite stories, and I'll give you maybe 1 that was very frustrating at the same time. One that almost made me not continue with Njeri's Kabati. Ooh. Let me pick 1. So understand that Njeri's Kabati has 4 branches. If you see us doing any mission out there, trust me, it lies amongst these 4 branches. Number 1, which is very close to my heart, as I told you, is youth inequity. That one we deal with the youth. We deal just being that gap and being that voice for the young people between the generation of the boomers, our parents, and then the millennials, Gen Zs, and the Gen Alpha. So us guys try our best to be the voice of the young people, giving them direction on where to go and all that. So we have a lot of youth outreach. And then the other one is crisis response. Crisis response is things like, when COVID came, that's a crisis that we hadn't prepared for. Us guys are always ready. I told you in the Kabati, we have people donating clothes, we have people donating beds, beddings, mattresses. We have them in the Kabati. So when it comes to crisis response, at any time, you can walk in and find something that would help. It could be a fire has broken out. Where does that family go? So of course, when you call in Njeri's Kabati, we do have mattresses, we have the beddings. We can always, dispatch them to the family in need. So the first one was youth inequity. We have crisis response. We have Maliza Umaskini. Maliza Umaskini is where now we take the families, just one family. We do a good assessment on the family, and then we support them for 90 days. Try to solve that situation for 90 days. So that the family does not come back borrowing food again tomorrow. Sort that problem once and for all in 90 days. Then the last one is public health programs. In fact, the last time I was here, we talked about something that was trending in this country. We had come here with susu cups. Do you guys remember? I'll make sure maybe we can put the link. You guys can go watch it on YouTube. We were talking about susu cups with Timothy, and susu cups were really trending in this country. I was just trying to push an agenda. Public health programs. Me being a women's health activist, here is where we talk about cancer. We are like literally on the forefront championing for, these cancer conversations, for it to be something normal. Do you remember when HIV hit this country? Funding was here. We had people, being tested out in the public. We had, a lot of funding actually went into eradicating HIV. Even if haikuisha, the rate of HIV went down. So the same thing is what we try to really champion when it comes to cancer as well. We need that discussion to be so open, that people can just walk in and say, test me for this particular cancer, or check me for this one. What do I need to know? So we're on the forefront, just leading the country to declare cancer a national disaster in this country. So Susu Cups was good. You remember the female urinary devices? Go check that out on my page. I'll make sure I post it up. So when you guys, by the time you watch this, it's going to be somewhere on my page, maybe on my stories, and maybe you can talk about that. So those are the 4 areas for Njeri's Kabati. So when you see us out there doing a thing, trust me, it is lying between these 4 categories, Njeri's Kabati. So I'll share with you guys one of my favorite missions that we did. So this girl came, she was brought to our attention, and she had maji, water, got accumulating in her head, right? So her head kept growing big and big and big. Big, when I say big, for a 6-year-old, her name was Naomi. She's one of my favorite. Right now, if you saw her, you wouldn't say she's the same girl. So the water was pressing on the brain because there was a tumor in the brain. It was pressing towards the brain, so that maji ilikuwa ina accumulate. So you could tell even her walking style was changing because it was pressing, it was affecting also her spinal cord. So the only solution, there's a tube that is normally inserted that drains the water out. So of course kuna madawa wanapeangwa before that, that at least inasaidia kudrain hiyo maji yenye nimejaa kwa kichwa. And then there's a tube, I don't remember the name of the tube, I need to go search it again. There's a tube that's inserted straight from the brain, it goes now straight to the kidney, ndio maji iweze kutoka. That in Kenya was costing a lot at that time, but in India it close to like 5 million. So even when the child was coming, she couldn't go to school, her speech was blurred. Ulikuwa unasikia hata akiongea, for a 6-year-old, they are playful, they want to be out there with their friends, but she couldn't. And her mom at that time, you're telling a mom to raise like 10 million afanyiwe operation surely. So when they came to us, I remember this girl, she told me, mimi nikipona nitafungua kanisa, nikipona nitarudi, nitafunza watoto wetu Bible, nitawafunza kuna Yesu. There was so much hope in this girl's eyes, made me wake up and go like, Jesus, okay, something has to be done. So I remember us making posters and looking for any other possible option, anything that can help this little girl. So finally we got like doctors in India who are going to do the whole operation for half the cost. So when we got the invoice, it was for 2.5 million Kenyan shillings. So fundraising wacha ianze. wacha watu wakuje pamoja. 10 bobs, let me tell you, kuna watu wazuri Kenya. People have a good heart. They're just looking for where exactly that it is that they can help. Like, people are looking for genuine cases that they can support. You know, I told you when we relate as humans, we are kind to each other. When we relate as humans, siwezi kaa hapa na besti yangu ako na shida na nisimpatie unga. But there are so many genuine cases in the country and so many people misusing other people. So when you do find that one needy case, people will come through. So when we raised now the issue, Kenyans came together. People gave 100s, their 50s, their 1,000s, their 5,000s. People really, really gave. So we got the 2.5 million bob, and Naomi went to India, na akatolewa maji, na akaekwa hiyo pipe, and she came back to Kenya. Right now, I think I'll make sure I share the images with you guys, but you will not imagine Naomi, this was 2 years ago. Naomi graduated the other day and her life is moving on smoothly. It just shows you, remember the song that we sang at the beginning? This is the day that the Lord has made. We rejoice and be glad in it. Every day, step by step. Today you have a problem, and then you come to me today, not tomorrow or yesterday, today. Today. The graces that God has given us today. You come to me like how Naomi came to us today. And then we tell you, okay, we take a day at a time. There's a grace that God is going to provide tomorrow, today. Okay? So if at all someone is feeling very discouraged out there, my main reason or my main advice that I would give to anyone going through whatever the situation, think about today. Think about today. Don't think about tomorrow. Don't think about yesterday. Don't think about, oh, how I grew up. Don't think about maybe my upbringing. That was then, this is now. Let's deal with today. Go open Psalms 118. It's a very powerful verse. I think Psalms 118 verse something, but it's in Psalms 118. This is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. Today. What can I do today? You can't eat a whole apple at the same time. Munch on what you can today, all right? So please don't hesitate to contact us at any point. Then I'll give you another story. That was baby Naomi. You can check her out on our page. We shared her stories there and her photos. Beautiful girl, encourages us all every day. So another beautiful story was the first one. Even as we are talking about femicide at this point, let me share this story. This was the first ever case at Njeri's Kabati. There was this girl. She was living with a roommate. You know, during your time, COVID started, job yake imewacha. So of course you go to a friend that you can trust, and then you ask them for a place to sleep. And of course your friend will give you a place to sleep maybe for a few days as you're sorting your life out. So this girl, she goes to seek help at her friend's place, yeah? The friend decides, you have stayed with me now, me and you and my boyfriend are going out to help each other out. People are wicked out here, I told you. The stories we receive sometimes, I'm like, what? They did what? So the friend now started, asking for sexual favors from her. That actually, it's one of my stories that really breaks my heart, because I put myself in her situation and I asked myself, surely, if I gave someone mahali pa kulala, would I ask them for sexual favors, or would I, me knowing their situation and that they are vulnerable at that time, would I go to that extent and really ask them for such favors? So I remember she called on me, and she called me straight. She had my number and she asked me for help. And she asked me, do you have any blankets? Do you have anything? Because now she can't stay with a friend. She can't do that even for her own dignity. Actually, I'm so proud of this girl, because the first step that she took was walk out. She didn't have money. She didn't have anything. So she went. Favor followed her. Don't forget that thing I told you about today. Do what you can today. So she thought about it. She went and took a small house. In that house, there was nothing. It was just a single room. The landlord agreed for her to stay there. Hakuwa na anything. She only had a bag of her clothes. So she just called me up and she asked me, is there a way that we can, have any help? Do you have beddings? Anything that I can use? I remember when I shared this story on my status, people came through for her so much. She got a bed, she got gas, she got clothes, she got food, and what really even moved me more, one of our partners called me up, akaniambia ahame penye anaishi all right? Tumpeleke kwa nyumba zake, and she got accommodation for a whole year. Today, my encouragement, today you will receive help. You know, today will not look as today tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow will be called today of tomorrow, you understand? So today, any help that you can receive, take a deep breath, solve the issue today. If you can sleep on it, if at all it's an issue that can be slept on and solved tomorrow, tomorrow will have a new grace of itself. Tomorrow will have a new mercies, as God says, His mercies are new every morning. Tomorrow will be the day you are calling today, okay? So that's my second favorite story at Njeri's Kabati. There are so many of them. There is others of, I've had partners come to me and tell me we have this much money, we want to do something. And for example, like one time, there was an amazing team. During COVID, there was a guy, his name was Peter. At least he allows me to use his one name. His name was Peter. As a man, and you're the provider in the house, and then job imekatika, unakumbuka COVID majobs ilikatika too at the same, like at once, bila warning. He used to be a bus driver in a school, so job yake ikakatika. He saw our thing online, and then he asked me, is there anything that you have in the kabati, hata kama ni food, anything that I can take back home? Because there's no way, as a man, mimi nitaonekana, like every day, like I'm facing my kids every day na sina food. So I just literally approached one of our partners and asked them, you see that the program I told you guys about that's called Poverty Alleviation, that one, is there any way that you can buy this family food for 3 months as we wait for COVID iishe? The guy was like, okay, how much do they need? So we wrote a small budget and then we sent to this guy. This partner supported Peter and his family for 6 good months, buying them shopping every month. Luckily, economy kafunguliwa and there was no more lockdown. So there are so many stories that I could share with you guys, but for me, it's my encouragement to you to think about today. I'm going to keep insisting on that because the Holy Spirit has really been ministering to my heart to just talk about today. Because today you'll receive help. Today you can always get, because for example, sometimes when I get cases in my office and I'm hearing people, maybe someone is on the verge of suicide and they're like, no, mimi siwezi ishi kesho. Njeri, the minute I leave your office, I'm going to hang myself. In fact, I think I have found the tallest building. I'll jump on top of KICC and just fall. But you realize when you talk to them, they're dealing with childhood traumas. They're dealing with maybe neglect from spouses. But that was then. Their child, maybe their spouse, maybe aliwafanyia ile kitu, ile character development, amewaacha. That was then. How about today? What are you doing about today? You know, is there anybody, if today you woke up and did your makeup right, took a shower, you know, changed your countenance, smiled at someone who has told you won't get someone else who would love you? You know, if we can all learn how to focus about today, stop gathering every other day, munch a little bit of the apple today. You know, I'll keep repeating that and I pray, even if I say everything else at the end of this broadcast, nimesema vitu mingi sana, but if you can just pick that point, that today His mercies are new, His grace is new, and help will come today. So maybe I should share one story about my worst or my most challenging ile yenyewe niliona hapana. Even me and my volunteers were like, wow, if we get another one like this one, I don't think we'll be able to do it again. One time there was a lady who came to us. She had cancer. It was already past stage 3. Ilikuwa inaenda tu ikiendanga tu. And someone called us and told us, just come and see this family, see what you can do. So we found them living somewhere in a shack, in a house. Hata kufunika walikuwa nafunika na like sacks. So this lady had cancer. You know, with cancer you have to get your chemotherapy treatment. In as much as we are praying and we are trusting God for healing, God has also given us doctors and who can cure. You know, He has given them that gift and that grace and that gifting to actually treat the cancer. So the lady was already past stage 3, hajaenda chemotherapy. They are only taking painkillers. She has 4 kids. They have dropped out of school. The husband is being funny. The husband has been beating her, hoping that she's going to die because she's too much. Apparently anataka tu akufe haraka ndio abaki peke yake. He's not okay with taking care of her anymore, he's tired. So I found the family, they had moved out and they were living in a shopping center in a house. They're sharing a house, like 5 children and now the mom. So the kids are sleeping on the floor. The food was a problem at that time. So I remember the first things first. This one was a hard one, to be honest. This was one of the hardest cases, I think. Because the lady staying there would have died of pneumonia, plus the children, even away from even hunger. Because we can go to the market and borrow food. But the house was cold, it was raining outside. So the first thing you do, in the Kabati, we had beds, we had beddings, we had clothes, we had mattresses, we had all that. So gathering friends, sharing the story online. I remember that same day, they moved out. Same day, moved them to a better house with better sanitation. It's not disgusting even to live in. Then the lady agreed. Oh, this one is a hard one to share. She agreed for us to take her to hospital, but at the back of her mind, she knew she would not come back. But she didn't know how she was going to break, the news to her children that she might not survive. She was hopeful and she kept telling them everything will be fine. Njeri's Kabati is here. Friends and family are here to help. Nyi msijali, nikienda nitarudi. So the day of going to the hospital, now when she was admitted at Kenyatta Referral Hospital, I remember she stayed there. She didn't even stay there for a week. But every day when you went to see her, she kept telling you, take care of the kids. Take care of the kids. Hawa niwe nimeachia. Usijali, hapa niko sawa. Hawa niwe nimeachia. Then after a week, sadly, the doctor was very honest enough and was like, even if we administered chemotherapy right now, the breast cancer had moved already, spread all over the body. So there was no chance of her to survive. Her kidneys had failed, her liver had failed. The next thing that was coming now was a stroke. So she got a heart attack after a week in the hospital and she died. Where do you start? You have a family now, she has passed away, and this actually, I get goosebumps every time I remember her, but I remember breaking the news even now to the siblings, and they're like, okay, where do we start? Are we orphans now? Because our dad, of course, had Turkey. Now do we start living with relatives? Who's going to pay our rent? That's the hardest, I think, mission we've done at Njeri's Kabati. When you lose someone in your hands, number one, and of course now you have to be in charge of, burying the body, that was a bit challenging. So even as you're preparing, if you're inspired to do mission work and help community, do community service, if it's something in your heart, please do come, let's talk about it first. Because when you find a case like this, it's going to break you. And you don't know what you're going to do next. You're not sure how you're going to deal with the family. Do you adopt them? You're not a children's home. You're not an adoption agency. So such are the things you don't learn in school. You learn on the job. They will hurt. You will be betrayed. People will fake things. So these are the things you need a mentor. A mentor is someone who has gone before you. A mentor is someone who has done what you're trying to do in advance. Okay? So they're going to guide you not to make the mistakes that they made. So it's going to be easier for you to transition into whatever God is calling you to do without all these hurdles and all these things that you won't go through them. So please, if this has touched you to actually want to do mission work as a full-time missionary, you can call me, contact me. You can reach out to me on my social media platforms. I'll make sure maybe we put the links down there. Talk to us at any time. If this has inspired you to want to, maybe there's someone you think you should help and God has put them in your heart to help and you don't know how to go about it, please make sure you contact us. Contact us on our social media, Facebook, Instagram. We are very active on social media. Throughout, we are online, waiting for someone maybe to ask us a question. It's a place of ministry that God has called us, and we wake up in the morning and we can't wait to do something else. But before you get into it, talk to a mentor. Talk to someone. If there's a way you want to reach us out to us as well, please go ahead and reach us. Talk to us, or if there's an organization that inspires you to do maybe this, reach out to them. Ask them questions. If they're a genuine organization, they're going to guide you, they're going to tell you what to do. So I pray this has inspired you. I pray this has touched your heart. I pray hopefully you'll come and do a mission with us. Next time, maybe when we come back, we'll have better news, we'll have stories and blogs. We're going to write about successful missions that we have had at Njeri's Kabati. Is there a way that we can help you as well? Maybe you're watching and you need some clarity on something. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us at any point. Yeah, please, at any point, go to social media, Njeri's Kabati, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that. My name is Njeri and I'm the chair lady at Njeri's Kabati. I pray we have inspired you. I'll see you guys again next time if I get to maybe be hosted here at TalKing or any other show at GBS TV. I look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye.